ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tomorrow's World Christmas Quiz. Now, if you've ever been baffled by science or bemused by technology, well, don't worry, because sometimes so are we. You just wouldn't believe some of the things that inventors come up with. And that's what this quiz is all about. We've got a host of guest stars, a studio audience who'll be fully entangled with things like this. Now, this one's an easy one, of course. Just as it appears, it's an ashtray for yachts and small boats. You suspend it like this and it always remains vertical, no matter which way the boat's going. And so there's no danger of a floating fag end. That's right, isn't it, Peter?
No, Howard, that is entirely wrong. Because what this really is a chicken roaster. Now, hang on a minute, my career's on the line here. The vital fact is that this chicken can sit like that in the roaster, which means that the hot air can circulate all the way around and inside, and it gives what the Chinese believe is the perfect crispy chicken. Beautiful.
Never believe strange men, and they don't come stranger than these two. In fact, this is a special metal palette for restoration artists. You mix the gilt paint in here, wipe the brush so, and any drips go straight back into that tray.
Well, as unlikely as it surely must seem, one of us is actually telling the truth, and it's up to the audience to try and win points by deciding just who it is. Keeping order among the mayhem is Maggie.
Well, doing my best. Though, of course, we've got a top-quality audience here tonight, because each one of them is armed with one of these little buttons, you see, and they can select their choice. So if you like, press your buttons now, audience. Let's see which one you reckon it is. Is it the boating ashtray, the chicken roaster, or the paint palette? Ooh, well, it looks like the paint palette has got it with 42%, but are we right?
Well, you said it was a top-quality audience. They're all wrong. It was, in fact, the chicken roaster.
Rockers. I see you're going to have your work cut out up there as well, Maggie. But the audience is just one of two teams. They need someone to play against. So would you please welcome our celebrity panel of experts. The captain this year is someone who has a detailed knowledge of the veterinary world from his role as James Herriot in All Creatures Great and Small, Christopher Timothy. Christopher, introduce your panel to us, would you?
On my immediate left, ladies and gentlemen, is Leslie Rees, the Professor of Endocrinology at Barts. Leslie Rees, ladies and gentlemen. And on my far left, John Albury, who is Professor of Physical Chemistry at Imperial College. John.
Welcome to you all, and good luck. You're going to need it. Right, let's get straight on with the first round. 10 points available. Peter, your explanation, please.
Thank you, Howard. Now, have you ever tried laying concrete on a slope when you want the concrete to be flat? Well, here's a clever new device which might just help. You can see there's a peg on this side, and if I spin that round, the top sort of levels off. So we can check that exactly with a spirit level. That's about right there. Then I can exchange it for a plank, which can be as long as you like, run that around, and every now and again knock in a peg and make sure that the top of the peg is exactly level with the bottom of the bar here. Do that all the way around, and of course all those pegs will be precisely in line. And all that then remains is for you to pour in the concrete and impress the neighbours to death. Easy.
A good try, Peter. But in fact, this is the very latest in cake icing aids. Now, the real professionals always have something that spins like this. Very important. But the brand new feature is a handle underneath, and you can move that round until this is at the perfect angle for the really tricky bit. Now, it won't surprise you to see what I'm writing. Happy Christmas. And it also won't surprise you to hear me say that this makes icing a piece of cake.
Not bad. Possible. But it's now time to bring on our third option and the first of our star guests. It's a lady whose words aren't usually in doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, Laura Stewart!
Actually, this piece of equipment is great for those of us who have to sit down for a living. It is a portable exerciser, and there's a lever on the side that will adjust the level high or low depending on how much exercise you want to do. And the first thing it'll exercise for you is your sense of balance. As you can see, I could do with some improvement. But this is really great for exercising your leg muscles, your thighs and your calves. So for the skiers amongst us, this will get you fighting fit for the slopes. Just don't break a leg when you get there.
So, with Peter's suggestion, the concrete's on the level, but is he? Judith enjoys icing her cakes with hers, or is it a thigh exerciser for skiing newscasters? Panel, it's your decision.
I think it's got to be something to do with the angle that the thing goes at. And the only one which seemed to use that was the cake. So I'm going for the cake.
Fine. Leslie?
Yeah, well, I don't like the exercise thing because one of the major things about skiing is you shouldn't stick your bottom out. And you can't wiggle your thighs like that without sticking your bottom out. So I agree with John. I think it's the cake icer.
I think it's the cake.
OK, the icing machine. All right, Maggie, what about thoughts in the audience?
I don't know. I know that you were shaking your head at Moira's. Do you not believe it's that?
No, I don't. I think you need pads for your backside.
Which one would you go for then?
The concrete leveler.
The concrete leveler.
Yes.
So you say the concrete leveler. Well, let's see whether everybody else agrees with you. Well, the thigh exerciser looks popular at the moment, but the cake icing stand is drawing level. Ooh, well, yeah, the cake icing stand has got it with 54%.
So, both the audience and the panel have gone for the icing machine. Well, let's reveal it. Will the person who was telling the truth please step forward? It was Moira's exerciser, so the show's off to a cracking start with no points each, and thank you very much, Moira Stewart. And so on to round two, and this time the audience will get first choice, and hopefully both teams are going to get some points. Peter, what on earth is that?
Glad you asked me that. Did you know that the total area covered by greenhouses in this country is more than 5,000 acres? Wow! Many of them are actually just plastic tunnels covered in polythene. But after being exposed to ultraviolet rays, the polythene can disintegrate, that is, in sunlight, and when it gets this bad, then the outlook for your fruit and veg is pretty gloomy. And that's where this device comes in. Now, this section here, this little square pad, is made up of ultraviolet degradable plastic. And at a predetermined exposure, it disintegrates. And what happens then is that this little thing spins up joyfully to greet you. And when it does, you know it's time to replace your polythene.
Well, you were wrong again. And as Christopher Timothy probably already knows, this is used in dairy farming. It's vital for farmers to know when their cows come into season so that they can call the vet and arrange artificial insemination. And that's what this device is for. It's glued, believe it or not, with cow gum. Very strong, but totally harmless. And it's glued on that way round, because you've probably guessed the rest. There's a plastic ring just here, which is designed to break under a heavy weight, so that the arm flies up. Now, be serious, please. The balls, of course, are kept apart, but cows do tend to get a little confused. And when this cow is in season, other cows will set this off. And then the farmer, as you can see, has an instant indication that it's time to call the vet. And if he invests in a pair of binoculars, he can stay in the comfort of his farmhouse.
Yes, how very tasteful. And Judith's not looking too bad either. Well, there is a third explanation, perhaps just as well, and it's in the hands, so to speak, of our next guest, but I'm sure you won't blame me for getting out of the way pretty quick.
If you're ballooning, viewers, and you, as you know, to balloon, you pull these handles here, and it makes all the hot air go up into the balloon. Well, the balloon canopy is made out of plastic, and if it gets too hot, it's going to scorch and burn, and you could fall down to earth with a wallop. Yeah. So, to prevent you doing that, somewhere here, I shan't be a minute, I've dropped it. It's this very technical device here. I'll just show it to you, viewers. It's very... I'll show it. I'll stop it. I'll show it. It's very... Breaking it down. This is technical device. This little square here, you see, is very sensitive to heat. So what you do, you stick this up in the very top of the balloon, and if the inside of the balloon canopy does get too hot, this releases this little thing here, and the flag falls down. For all the use it is, you might as well stick it on the back of a cow.
Hot air, perhaps? Perhaps not, but I'm glad to see we've got that emu in that basket, and there it shall stay. So, is it a greenhouse monitor, a fashionable cow's fertility aid, or a balloon alarm for flying emus? Audience, it's up to you. Maggie, any thoughts?
I reckon it's an emu alarm.
So you're going off on a complete tangent, but let's find out what the audience in general think, and let's see how the voting goes. Well, the greenhouse monitor looks the favourite at the moment. The greenhouse monitor has got it, 46%.
OK, the greenhouse monitor say the audience. What about our panel, Christopher?
Well, I'm sorry about this, but it's an immediate reaction every time I see a cow. Now, but we think it's to do with temperatures and greenhouses.
And again, both teams going for the same one. Will the person who was telling the truth make a move forward?
It was me.
OK, well, that means again, no points each as we finish the second round. But thank you very much, Rod Hull and Emu. Well, as you know, on Tomorrow's World, we like to be first to show you things. So here, exactly 7 days before his scheduled appearance, is Father Christmas. Bearing gifts. Now, we've got one for the panel here. One for the panel, there you go. They've got one panel. Open it up straight away and have a look at it. You're allowed to do that. Whilst Father Christmas goes over to the audience, because they have a different Christmas present. And basically, you've got until the end of the programme to work out what it is. But have a quick look now.
It looks vaguely like a pen. It's come out of this tube here. But it won't be a pen, of course, will it, Howard?
Well, who knows?
What?
Oh, and one clue to both of you. Both these items are very useful at this time of year. OK, let's go back to the next round of Who's Telling the Truth. And since we've got a red stick down here, here's an old stick. Peter.
Not so much of the... Thank you. Not so much of the old. Now, may I introduce Christine and Carr, the boa constrictor. You know, it's amazing how many people are quite terrified of snakes, and like any other phobia, it can be completely incapacitating. So, with something like snakes, the doctors use what's called exposure therapy. They start by showing the patient pictures, then toys, possibly a dead snake, and finally, a delightful live one like this. But for the penultimate step, before they get to grips with the snake, or vice versa, they use this. Now, it's... wait a minute. It's padded on the inside so it doesn't damage the snake, and, excuse me, would you just stretch your neck in this direction? Thank you. It can slip very gently but firmly over the snake like that, and so eventually the patient will have complete control over the thing that they're frightened of. And before they know what's hit them, some of their best friends will be snakes.
Now, if you're house proud, because Peter was wrong, of course, this could be just the thing to find in your Christmas stocking, because it will clean parts of your home never, ever touched by human hands. The back of pipes. You put a bit of cleaning fluid onto here, onto this sponge. You clip it round any pipe up to 2 inches wide, and then you can get all the muck off the back. And when you've done that, you can put on some metal polish and make them really gleam.
Judith, the upmarket Mrs. Mop. Well, since this is a family show, we thought we'd bring the families on, or at least someone from one of our families. Ta-da!
I've got to say, you're talking a load of waffle. And Peter, I mean, he's the sort of guy you wouldn't buy a second-hand car off. This is something I've got to show you. Hello. Right, please don't look so bored, it's me. Right, this is something that fathers, daddies will love, because it is, in fact, a baby bottle holder. No, please. Honestly, my wife's going to have a baby in April, so I've got to get in a little bit of practice, you see. Now, imagine the scene, 3 o'clock in the morning, your little one's bawling its eyes out, crying like you wouldn't believe. So you turn round to the missus and say, don't worry, Maggie, I'll get this one. Right, the advantage of this little gadget, you see, is you can... I'm going to have to get in a lot of practice here. You can hold the baby in one hand. You can also hold the bottle feeder in this hand and feed it, you see. Clever, clever. Now, hang on, there's more, please. You can use this hand to do anything you like with. You can learn to play the piano or have something to eat, you say. And also have something to drink as well.
Well, it looks as though we have Peter's snake holder, a sort of asp clasp, I suppose. Judith thinks it's a pipe cleaner, and Keith's practising which end of the baby goes where. Panel to go first. Christopher?
Yes,
Captain,
we seem to be confused somewhat.
I mean, I don't believe the handle's long enough for the snake business. I didn't believe all that stuff about the snake phobia, and I don't think that's the way you treat these people.
I don't believe it's any of them.
Fine. I think it's the bottle thing.
Well, of course, Captain's choice it is. They're going for the bottle. They don't obviously think much of this so far. So what about the audience, Maggie?
I'm just going to ask the audience to put it to their vote. Can you just press your buttons and let's see which one comes up trumps? Well, the pipe cleaner looks like it's the favourite so far. Yep, they've settled on the pipe cleaner, 53%.
OK, the panel go for the bottle and the audience to the pipe cleaner. That's Judith's explanation. Will the person who was telling the truth please step forward?
It is, in fact, me.
Absolutely tremendous. Christopher Timothy was right. We're off the mark. The panel have 10 points, and thanks a lot. Keith Chegwin, and good luck, mate.
Yeah, it's whiskey.
OK, a further diversion now as we go into our film round. Panel, the first film is going to be for you. You've got up to 10 points to win if you can get close to what is happening and what is being talked about here. Bob Symes is at home, preparing for Christmas in his own inimitable way.
The trouble with most Christmas presents is that as soon as they're unwrapped, they lose their surprise. But I like to give things that keep their mystery after they're out of the box. Take this chap, for instance. It's basically cylindrical. It's got 2 knobs at one end and a honed, sharpened edge at the other end. It's hinged, and it has an adjustable stop up here. And it does its job remarkably quickly.
Yes, and every household needs one. But what is it?
I don't know.
I thought about opening a bottle, but I mean...
It'd be a flipping big bottle, wouldn't it, with a neck like that?
I want to chomp into something with it.
You don't want to
But I don't know
You
what.
don't want to put it over a soda side.
It's certainly connected. Is it connected with food? Can we say
Food,
that?
yes, I think
it's connected with something we
Yes.
intake.
And it's a
chopping thing
a
of some
chopping
sort.
thing for some
Chopping
sort
sort
of
of,
food.
yeah, opening.
Very interesting. Let's find out.
I could have given you a clue. I'm giving it to a keen cook. It's the quick way of turning cauliflower into cauliflower florets.
Tremendous. That piece of discussion obviously did you well. I'm going to give you 8 out of 10 because you didn't get it quite right. So that takes the panel score to 18 points. And on to the audience. It's your turn now. A film for you. The same rules apply. Have a look at this. What is going on? Bob Symes.
I'm giving another friend of mine one of these. Now, inside this plastic container, there are 3 little sets of brushes on wheels which rotate. And you fill it with fluid up to this level. And it locks. And without one of these, he could be in for a very messy job.
Intriguing, that one. I had to play with that myself. Maggie, any ideas up there?
Well, let's find out what we all think. Have you any thoughts at all, sir?
Perhaps a scrambling egg, or...
Scrambling eggs. You're a cook yourself, are you, sir?
No, I wouldn't like to describe myself as that.
I see. What do you reckon?
I've no idea.
You've got absolutely no idea. I'm going to carry on till I get the right answer.
I've no idea.
No idea? Anybody got any ideas? You've got a thought, sir?
I would say, just a guess, it looks like a bicycle chain cleaner.
A bicycle chain cleaner? Yeah. Let's find out.
Well, I was curious how this one worked, so I tried it myself.
You must be the inventor! How did he know that? That's quite amazing. Well done. Well, there is only 10 points to give. I would give you more if I could, but 10 points to the audience. 18 to the panel, 10 to the audience as we go into the final round of Who's Telling the Truth. And once again, I'm going to point a finger at Peter.
Well, now, for this one, I need a victim. I mean, a patient. So, totally at random, Howard, come over here. Now,
yes.
if you've ever been admitted to hospital, you'll know the doctors use some pretty basic techniques. For instance, to test the motor function of the nervous system, just push my hand there, will you?
That's not going to hurt, is it?
No. Very good. Now, squeeze those fingers. There's nothing wrong with you. Now, all these are pretty unscientific, I'm sure you'll agree, but this device here is an attempt to improve that grip test. Now, if you hold that between your thumb and first finger like that, it's not as easy as it looks. And these weights here are specially rated for a normal adult. And although it's quite difficult, you've got to keep it very steady there. That's excellent. So this new device, invented by a neurologist, should be a handy ready reckoner for hospital doctors assessing the nervous system.
Do you want it back now?
Steady, I think I should take a rest if I was you.
Thank you very much.
Totally unscientific. Like all sports, golf has got plenty of armchair professionals, as well as endless gadgets to improve your game. They tell me that the secret of good golf is your stance. Feet apart, weight evenly distributed between each foot, knees slightly bent, arms straight, head still, and eyes fixed on the ball. And this is the latest device to help practice that last stage. You hold it between your teeth at a slight angle, with the leg weights just in view. And the idea is to keep these as still as possible while you practice your swing.
And so to our final guest, a man well ahead of his time by about 2 centuries. He's never been phased, but has a stunning phaser. From the far reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy, our coordinates are fixed. So please beam him in. From Star Trek, George Takei, alias Lieutenant Sulu.
Live long and prosper. In the 23rd century, we call this a museum piece. But in the 1980s, it's one of the very latest tools in mineral prospecting, a divining rod. Mining companies are fairly quiet when they hire psychics to back up their scientists, but it is done. Now, this particular device is a divining rod for heavy metals like lead, gold, iridium, and osmium, and it twitches when it's passed over a lump of lead like this. Perhaps it's on the wrong wavelength. In my time, we call it a spectroceptor, but to you, it's a heavy metal divining rod.
Yes, live long and prosper, Sulu. So, it's either a device for nervous TV presenters to check jittery fingers. Judith thought she was getting her teeth into a golfing aid. What a swing. And Lieutenant Sulu doing a little prospecting with it on the planet Pyrites. Audience, you're 8 points behind. A bit of catching up to do, Maggie.
Well, we've done very well so far, but what do you reckon that is?
Oh, well, it's got to be I've forgotten what they are now.
He's right on the ball. Well, let's find out what it is. Press your buttons. Yes, the metal diviner seems to be favourite so far. Oh, it's dropped back now. A finger check. Yes, it's the metal diviner by a natch.
38%, just about for the metal diviner. Panel, it's up to you. What do you think, Christopher?
Well, this is unified disagreement again. So I think it's the metal diviner, but we're torn between that and the finger thing. And having said all that, it now convinces me that it's got to be the golfing thing. You think that's
No,
wrong,
we're
do you?
not going for the golfing thing.
Yeah, but you're...
No,
Now, wait a minute.
It would have a proper mouthpiece if it was the golfing thing. She wouldn't have to have that black thing in her teeth like that. It would actually...
Right, the metal diviner as...
Really?
Yeah, with the audience.
Trekkies all the way. Both teams gone for the metal divining. OK, would the person who is telling the truth take a step forward? Sorry. Judith with the bit between her teeth once again, but again, no points for either the panel or the audience. So the results, the scores remain the same at 18 to the panel, 10 to the audience, and thank you very much, George Takei. Both teams can still win because we haven't decided about those Christmas presents yet, and that's what we're going to do right now. Both teams have had long enough to decide. Panel, what do you make of your red stick?
Leslie will demonstrate.
I don't know whether the audience can see, but there's a metal end to it there with a V shape in it and a ledge going underneath. And underneath that is a magnet. And if I put my earring underneath it, I can tell that it's a magnet. And what it is, it's for if you've got drawing pins up on a board up there, the drawing pin slots in under there and you pull it off. We think it's a brilliant invention, don't we, John?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, very, very good.
Well. Very interesting idea. There's only one way to find out, and that's to invite Father Christmas back on to tell us. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Moore.
Yes, of course, you're absolutely right. Precisely what it is. It's the thing for pinning up things in inaccessible places. Magnet to the top there. Stick it in the wall there. And then we remove it. And there you are. That was
brilliant.
Just taking it down a bit.
Great. 10 points. That's the maximum you can get. Maggie, what do you think about yours?
Well, we got varying theories in the audience. 50% of them worked out that this part of it was a cardboard tube. Now, they're right about that bit, so I think we deserve 5 marks for that. But what about the rest of it?
I reckon you run it along water pipes to find the frozen parts in winter.
Right. How about you, sir?
Check Christmas tree lights. Faulty bulbs in the Christmas tree lights.
Faulty bulbs in the Christmas tree lights.
Well, great idea. Some interesting ideas from the audience. Are they right, Patrick?
They are indeed. It is a voltage detector. It's a voltage detector. If you don't make electrical contact, so it's perfectly safe. For example, here's a live wire, like that, and you can see it's glowing red. You can see it quite clearly. Still live. All that's live. Now, where's the faulty one? 41 is there. It's gone out. And so that is the faulty bulb, and you can replace it quite easily. Isn't it simple?
And there we are. It's now shining. 10 points to the audience. And a special thanks to Patrick Moore for coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christmas.
And so to our final score. The audience have amassed a marvellous 20 points, but the panel have 28 points and are this year's quiz show winners. So congratulations to the panel, commiserations to the audience, and thanks to all our special guests, and of course the panel, Professor Leslie Rees, Professor John Albury, and Captain Christopher Timothy, and of course the audience.
And of course, a very, very big thank you to our audience. They've been absolutely tremendous tonight. And that is about it from Tomorrow's World for this year. We will be back in the new year, by which time, hopefully, some kind of order will have been restored. So until then, have yourselves a very, very good Christmas. Take care. Good night. See you soon.